Cowboy, is your mind always between my legs? Is that why you look so lost out here, beneath the wide open stretch of sky, where silence eats at men more than hunger? You sit tall in that saddle, head dipped low, pretending the wind is your only companion, but I can feel your thoughts crawling across the dirt toward me. They drag, heavy as spurs on stone, desperate as cattle thirsting for water in a land that won't give it. You don't speak much, never have, yet your silence is louder than any confession. It's in the way your eyes linger too long when you think I ain't looking, the way you shift in that saddle as though you're carrying a weight no rope can haul. Maybe it ain't me you're chasing. Maybe it's a dream of something softer than dust, something warmer than whiskey. Still, you ride close enough for me to hear your breath hitch when the wind presses my dress against my skin. The prairie don't forgive distractions. Coyotes circle, rattlers wait, storms rise without warning. Out here, a man's got to keep his mind sharp, his hands steady, or the land will swallow him whole. But you, cowboy, you stumble through your days as though the horizon don't matter, as though the only map you carry is etched between my thighs. You look at me like I'm the trail you lost long ago, the one you've been bleeding your boots to find again. I wonder sometimes if you're cursed. Men like you, they carry fire in their bellies but never learn how to bank it. You burn through towns, through women, through nights too long for sleep. And yet, when you sit beside me by the fire, eyes catching the flames, I swear I see a boy lost in the smoke, a boy who wanted something simple before the world taught him to hunger for more. Maybe you're searching for home where home don't exist. Maybe that's why your gaze falls where it does, because flesh feels safer than faith, and I am flesh you can almost touch. But let me tell you something, cowboy. Desire's a desert worse than this one. You can ride it for miles, your tongue cracked, your bones aching, and never find water deep enough to save you. If you keep looking at me like salvation is carved into my skin, you'll die thirstier than you ever knew. The land don't give second chances, and neither do I. So answer me, cowboy. Is your mind always between my legs? Is that why you look so lost out here, chasing ghosts and shadows, forgetting the horizon, forgetting yourself? Or is it that you know the truth, that you ain't lost at all, you just don't want to be found? Cowboy, you shift in your saddle like the leather itself has teeth, gnawing at your thighs. You don't notice the mesquite, don't hear the hawk's cry circling above, don't see how the land folds into itself like a prayer no one will ever answer. You see me, always me. It's written in the way your gaze skims over my body before you even allow it to reach my eyes, as though the truth is too much for you to meet head on. And yet you call yourself a man of grit, a man who knows the earth's cruelty. I wonder if you've ever truly looked at it. This land, it don't bend for anyone. You think you ride it, think you've claimed it with your boots, your rope, your sweat, but the truth is the land rides you. It sits heavy on your chest when you sleep, it presses against your lungs with every breath you take. You're no more in control of it than you are of me, and maybe that's what makes you so desperate. You want mastery, you want dominion, but all you'll ever have is yearning. You stare at me like I'm water in the desert, but water can drown a man quicker than it can save him. You'd drink deep if I let you, wouldn't you? You'd bury your face in me and forget the world existed. But I wonder, cowboy, do you even know what it is you thirst for? Is it me, or is it the idea of escape? Out here, the nights are long, the wind's colder than a coffin lid, and the only warmth you've known is the fire you build with your own hands. You think I'm fire. You think I'll burn for you, light your nights, keep you safe. But what if I'm the kind of flame that consumes instead? You tell yourself you're lost, but men don't get lost by accident. They wander, yes, but they wander because they're chasing something they can't name. Maybe you're not lost at all. Maybe you're hiding. You wear your loneliness like a badge, pretend it's honor, pretend it's the cost of being a man out here, but I see through it. You ride beside me not because you're strong but because you're afraid of what silence does to your mind when you're alone. The silence, cowboy, it speaks, don't it? When you lie under that endless sky, stars bleeding their cold light down on you, the silence fills your ears until you hear things you'd rather forget. The face of your father, maybe. The laugh of a woman who left you behind. The cry of some child you never raised. Ghosts, all of them, dragging their chains behind your eyes. And so you look at me instead. Easier to focus on my hips, my legs, the way my breath catches when the night wind bites. Easier to think about flesh than about the things that carved you hollow. You think desire is freedom. You think if you bury yourself deep enough, if you take and take until there's nothing left to give, you'll forget who you are. But desire is a noose, cowboy. The tighter you pull, the closer you get to choking. And I can feel it in you, that pull, that hunger that don't belong to the body alone. You want to vanish inside me, not because you love me, not because you even know me, but because you think maybe I'll erase you for a while. But nothing erases out here. The desert remembers. The land keeps every step, every cry, every sin. You can dig a grave and the sand will spit the bones back out come storm season. You can burn a camp to ash and still smell the smoke weeks later. You can lie to yourself and call it survival, but the land don't lie. It strips men bare, bone by bone, until all that's left is truth. And maybe that's why I let you ride beside me, why I don't turn you away when your gaze slips too far south. Because I want to see how long it takes before this land breaks you. I want to see what truth crawls out of you when you can't hide behind your hunger anymore. You think I'm your salvation, but I am nothing more than a mirror polished by dust and firelight. Look into me, cowboy, and you'll see not what you want, but what you are. Still, you ride, lost and not lost, your hands restless on the reins, your tongue dry with words you don't dare speak. You tell yourself you'll keep me safe, you'll guide me through this land, but your eyes betray you. They're not watching for rattlers or for outlaws. They're watching the sway of my body, the heat rising off my skin. You can't help yourself, can you? And maybe I can't either. Because I know the power of being wanted. I know how it coils in a man, how it bends him. I know how it makes him weak, and weakness, out here, is the closest thing to truth a man will ever confess. So I let you look. I let you hunger. I let you think your desire has direction, that it's leading you somewhere. And maybe it is, but where it leads won't be where you think. Cowboy, I can hear the creak of your saddle even when the wind screams loud enough to rattle the mesquite branches. It's a rhythm, steady but broken, like your heart when it don't know whether to slow or gallop. You ride close, too close sometimes, so near the brush of your boot against mine makes sparks in places you don't speak of. And when the moon is swollen, heavy as a secret no one can bear to keep, I feel your shadow trying to stretch over me like you're reaching for shelter where you don't belong. You call yourself hard, but hardness is nothing but a mask. Underneath, I see the soft places you hide. They show when your fingers twitch around the reins, when your jaw clenches not from grit but from restraint. You think you're some lone rider, some myth stitched together by silence and scars, but I've learned something about myths. They're built to hide shame, not glory. And maybe that's what drives your eyes down to me, again and again. Maybe shame's the thing that makes you linger. You never earned tenderness, did you? No one ever gave it to you without asking for blood in return. So now, when you look at me, you're torn between worship and hunger. You want to bow and devour at the same time, as if my skin could save you, as if salvation was something you could take with your teeth. The fire tells the truth at night. It dances, throws shadows over your face until you look less like a man and more like a carving, all sharp edges and hollow eyes. You lean back like you're resting, but you're never resting. Your body is always a coil, waiting for release. You sip your whiskey like it'll drown the howl in your chest, but it never does. You look across the flames at me, and the night stretches thin as glass. I know what you're asking without words. I know what it would mean if I let you cross that distance. But I don't move. I let the silence thicken, let you drown in it, let you feel every ache of your hunger. Because desire's only sweet when it's sharpened by waiting. You think you're strong, but I've seen stronger men break for less than what you feel now. Out here, patience is a weapon. I sharpen mine every night against the sound of your breath. And when you finally sleep, when the whiskey drags you down and your hat slips low over your face, I watch you. Your mouth softens in sleep, almost kind, like maybe the boy you once were crawls out from under the wreckage of your body for a little while. I imagine him, barefoot, wild-haired, chasing some horizon that promised more than dust. Did you ever laugh back then, cowboy? Did you ever hold anything in your arms that didn't leave? Maybe that's why you clutch at me with your eyes. Maybe you think if you stare long enough, I'll stay. But men like you don't keep things. You consume them. You ride through towns. You burn through nights. You take and take until the ground itself spits you out. And yet you keep circling back to me, as though I'm different, as though I hold the piece of you the desert stole. I don't. I'm just the one who sees you clear. And still, I wonder, what would happen if I let you have me the way you want? Would you vanish into me and finally find peace, or would you unravel even faster? I think about it sometimes, the weight of you pressed against me, the sound you'd make if I gave you what you beg for without words. But then I remember how this land works. Nothing here is free. Every touch is a trade, every kiss a contract. If I gave you myself, I'd be signing my name in dust and blood, binding us both to something neither of us could escape. So I hold back, not out of fear but out of power. I let you ache, because your ache tells me who you are. And maybe that's the cruelest mercy I can give. The days drag us forward, deeper into nothing. The sun burns holes into our skin, and the wind tastes like rust. You ride with your head down, but your gaze finds me still. Always. You never stop looking, like you're afraid if you blink, I'll disappear. That's the thing about men like you. You know loss too well, so you grip even tighter, even when your hands come away empty. I test you, sometimes. I slow my horse just enough that you have to ride up beside me. I shift in the saddle, let the curve of my body catch your eye. I say something low, something that could be innocent but ain't, not the way your ears catch it. And you flinch, every time, like a man torn between two cliffs with no rope to save him. The desert eats your restraint. Day by day, it chews at your patience, grinds it down until all that's left is raw hunger. One night, when the stars are thick enough to choke the sky, you almost break. You step toward me across the fire, slow, like each step might kill you. Your hand lifts, hovers, but you don't touch. You just stand there, breathing hard, eyes burning holes through me. I let you stand. I don't move, don't flinch. I meet your gaze until your arm trembles, until the weight of wanting drags it back down. You turn away then, curse under your breath, and I know you hate me for holding the reins you can't break. But hate is kin to love out here. Both of them bind a man tighter than chains. I see it in the way you ride harder the next day, spurring your horse until foam clings to its mouth, as though you can outrun the fire you feel. You can't. The desert won't let you. It folds around you, miles and miles of emptiness that echo every thought you're trying to bury. And in that emptiness, I wait. Because I know something you don't. I know the desert don't care about flesh. It don't care about sin or salvation. It strips men down until all that's left is the truth of their bones. And when that moment comes, when the silence grows so loud you can't hide behind desire anymore, you'll see yourself in me, not the woman between your legs, but the mirror of every hunger you ever tried to silence. And when you do, cowboy, you'll finally understand that you were never lost. You just didn't want to be found. Cowboy, I see the way the desert wears you thin. The sweat that stains your shirt, the dust that clings to your lips, the cracked lines across your hands that no water can soften. You carry yourself like a man who owns his suffering, but I can tell it's the other way around. It owns you. Every mile we ride, every mile of silence stretching between us, I hear the way it gnaws at you, slow but merciless, like a wolf chewing a bone until nothing remains but splinters. You pretend not to notice, but I do. I see how your eyes wander when the sun sinks low, how your shoulders sag as though the horizon presses down heavier than your saddle. You're a man who's been riding so long he don't know how to stop. If you stopped, you'd have to face yourself. And so you keep moving, even when the trail ain't there, even when your compass is nothing more than the sound of my breath. You don't speak of the things that chase you, but I can feel them at your back. Regrets, old sins, debts you never paid. They ride with us, invisible but loud, their voices slipping into the cracks of the night when the coyotes howl and the fire dies down. Maybe you think I can't hear them, but I can. They whisper your name, cowboy, over and over, until it sounds less like a man and more like a wound that never closed. Sometimes I wonder what you'd look like if you laid those ghosts down. If you let yourself stop carrying them. Would your eyes soften? Would your mouth learn to smile again? Or would you crumble without the weight, nothing left to hold you steady? Men like you are made of their burdens. Strip them away and maybe there's nothing left but dust. Still, you look at me like I could replace the things you've lost. Like my body could fill the gaps where your heart's been hollowed. And I know what would happen if I let you. You'd drink me down the way you drink whiskey, fast, desperate, and never enough. You'd tear into me like I was the last meal before a hanging, and when you were done, when the hunger dulled, for a moment, you'd sit there wondering why you still felt empty. Because I can't save you, cowboy. No one can. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe salvation was never what you wanted. Maybe all you ever needed was to be consumed, even if it killed you. And maybe that's why you keep your eyes where you do, as though you're already imagining yourself buried between my thighs, buried so deep the world disappears. Maybe that's the only place you think you'll ever find silence. The desert stretches on, endless, merciless, the kind of land that don't let a man keep his illusions for long. It breaks you down slow, strips away the lies you tell yourself. And I see it working on you. Day by day, your gaze grows sharper, your silence heavier. You're unraveling, cowboy, thread by thread, and I wonder if you even know it. At night, when you think I'm asleep, you sit up by the fire, staring at the flames like they might hold an answer. I watch you through half-closed eyes, see the way your hands curl into fists and unclench, over and over. You're fighting yourself, and you're losing. The fire reflects in your eyes, and for a moment, I almost believe you'll cross that distance between us. But you don't. You swallow it down, the way you always do, and the silence swallows you back. I wonder how long you can hold out. How long before the desert finishes what it started, before you can't tell the difference between need and survival. Out here, the two look the same. A man will kill for water. A man will beg for shade. And you'd crawl for me if I let you. I can see it in the way your body strains against itself, the way your breath shudders when the night grows too still. But I don't move. I let you wrestle with it. Because I know the truth the desert has already whispered to me. Hunger ain't meant to be satisfied. It's meant to keep you alive, meant to keep you moving. The moment you feed it, the moment you think you've won, that's when the land takes you. That's when you crumble into bones and dust. And maybe I'm cruel for letting you suffer. Maybe I should reach across the fire, touch your face, tell you it's all right to want. But I won't, because I need to see how far you'll go. I need to know if you're a man who bends or a man who breaks. You don't know it, cowboy, but every mile we ride is a test. Every silence is a question. Every glance is a blade. You think you're chasing me, but I'm the one leading you. Not through this land, but through yourself. And when we reach the end of it, when there's nowhere left to hide, you'll finally have to face the thing you've been running from all along. And maybe then, when the hunger has stripped you bare, when your eyes can't hide behind the ache of desire, maybe then I'll let you touch me. Maybe then I'll let you know what it feels like to finally be found. Cowboy, your silence grows heavier with each passing mile, like stones you keep piling into your own pockets. The horse beneath you feels it, too. I see it in the way its ears twitch back, restless, catching the weight of a man who carries too much. The desert don't forgive burdens. It takes them, grinds them into sand, and then it presses that sand into your skin until you can't tell what's you and what's the land. You think you're holding it together, but I see the cracks. In the mornings, when you rise, your movements are slower, stiffer, like every muscle in your body has been arguing with itself all night. You splash your face with what little water we carry, but it don't wash away the shadows beneath your eyes. Those shadows are older than this journey, older than me. They're carved into you like scars, and no amount of whiskey or sweat can scrub them out. Sometimes I hear you mutter in your sleep. Words too broken to catch, a name maybe, a plea. You roll and thrash, and your hand reaches out, searching for something it never finds. I lie awake, watching, wondering who it is you call for. Is it a woman, a child, a ghost that won't leave you be? Whoever it is, they've stitched themselves so deep into your bones that even your dreams can't cough them out. And yet, when you wake, you wear that same mask. Quiet, controlled, untouchable. You ride beside me like the desert hasn't been peeling you apart piece by piece. But I know better. Every man breaks. The only question is when. The sun climbs high, merciless, and I watch sweat slide down the side of your neck, disappearing beneath the collar of your shirt. You keep your gaze forward, but I can feel it drift, again and again, toward me. You never linger long, but the flickers are enough. I know where your mind goes, even if you never speak it. You think desire is a secret, but it shows in the tension of your jaw, in the way your fingers tighten on the reins every time I shift in my saddle. Sometimes I let you see more than you should. A brush of skin when I push my hair back, the stretch of my leg when I adjust my stirrup. Small things, deliberate. I see how it shreds you, how it coils tighter inside you, and I wonder how long before it snaps. There's a part of me that wants it too. A part of me that wants to watch you come undone, wants to see what lies beneath that iron mask you wear. Is it tenderness, or is it something darker, something wilder, the kind of hunger that don't stop even when it's fed? The desert listens. It hears the things we don't say, and it keeps them. Sometimes, at dusk, when the air cools and the sky bleeds into colors no painter could ever hold, I swear I feel the land pressing against us, watching. It knows what you want. It knows what I refuse to give. It knows this game we play, this silent war stretched across miles of dust. And it waits. You don't know it, but I've been testing you. Every silence, every glance, every touch I withhold, it's a test. I want to see if you'll break, if you'll reach for me without permission, if you'll let the hunger eat you whole. Because that will tell me everything I need to know about the kind of man you are. Out here, control is the only thing that keeps a soul alive. Lose it, and the desert takes you. One night, when the fire burns low and the coyotes howl close enough to make the horses restless, you shift closer. Not much, just a breath, just enough that your shadow slides across mine. You stare into the flames, but I can feel your body trembling with something more dangerous than fear. Your hand flexes against your thigh, opening and closing like it's searching for a weight it can't hold. I don't move. I let you linger there, let the fire paint our faces with the same flicker, let you drown in the nearness. You've been starving for, but you pull back. You always do. And I see the hate in your eyes, not for me, but for yourself. For the way you can't conquer this, the way desire bends you into something small. You hate the weakness, hate the need, and yet you can't let it go. The days stretch on, and the land grows harsher. Water runs low, the horses stumble more often, and the heat presses down like a punishment. Still, you keep your silence, keep your eyes where they shouldn't be, keep carrying that hunger like a wound. I wonder sometimes if you even know another way to live. You think of me as flesh, as escape, as the balm for every ache you can't name. But you don't see what I see when I look at you. I see a man carved hollow, a man who thinks his body is armor when really it's nothing but a cage. You ride through this world pretending you're made of stone, but stone crumbles, too, given enough time. And the desert is patient. There's a storm one evening, sudden and violent, the kind that rolls across the sky without warning. Lightning splits the horizon, and thunder shakes the ground like the footsteps of some ancient god. Rain lashes at us, cold and furious, and the horses rear, terrified. You're beside me in an instant, hand grabbing my reins, pulling me steady. For the first time, your touch is real, solid, burning through the storm. And for a moment, just a moment, I let it happen. I let you guide me, let your hand hold mine steady, let the storm wash away the silence between us. Your eyes meet mine through the downpour, and I see everything you've been trying to hide: fear, desire, desperation, hope. It hits me like the rain itself, sharp and undeniable. Then it's gone. The storm passes as quick as it came, leaving only mud and silence in its wake. You release the reins, your hand retreating like it never belonged there, and the distance between us grows again. But the air is different now. The storm took something with it, and left something else behind. You don't speak of it. You never do. But I see it in you, the way your shoulders are tighter, the way your eyes burn brighter when they meet mine. Something shifted, and you can't hide it. Not from me, not from the land, and I know then that it's only a matter of time. Cowboy, after that storm, I notice the way your hands linger near the reins when I ride ahead, as though you're waiting for the moment I falter so you can steady me again. You don't ask for closeness. You wait for it to break through the world itself, the way thunder tore open the sky. And though you never speak of it, I feel the question trembling inside you. Will I let you touch me again, or was that storm the only forgiveness you'll ever get? The nights after grow quieter, heavier. The fire burns lower, and your eyes burn higher. Sometimes I catch you watching me as though I am the last map you'll ever see, as though every road you've lost has led you here. But I don't move toward you. I let the space stretch, because space is where truth grows. Space is where a man decides what he's made of. The desert changes after a storm. The air feels cleaner, sharper, filled with a kind of ache that isn't visible until you breathe it in. And I see that same ache in you. It clings to you like wet dust, soft at first, then suffocating. You ride harder, push yourself farther, as though miles might burn away what you felt when the rain pressed us close. But no mile is long enough to erase a touch once it's been tasted. One evening, as the sun bleeds red across the horizon, you break the silence. Not with words, but with sound, a low hum, rough and cracked, the ghost of a song that might have been sung long ago by the boy you once were. It dies on your lips before I can place it, but it lingers in my chest. I want to ask who taught it to you, who stole it from you, but I don't. The silence is safer. Still, that hum tells me more than your words ever could. It tells me you remember softness, even if you can't hold it anymore. That night, you don't sleep. You pace the fire's edge like a man being hunted, your shadow growing long against the rocks. I watch, silent, pretending my eyes are closed. But I feel your gaze sweep over me again and again, like waves carving a shore. You're fighting it, the hunger, the storm, the pull that drags you toward me. Your fists clench at your sides, and I know you're holding yourself together by threads. I almost want you to break. Almost. But I don't move, because the moment you take without permission, I'll know you for what you are. By morning, you're hollow-eyed and brittle, your jaw locked tight as though the night split something inside you. You don't speak. You ride in silence, and the horses feel it, their ears twitching, their steps uneven. I feel it too, the way the air seems sharper, like every breath we take is a blade. Days pass, and the land grows harsher. The water runs thinner, the heat heavier, the silence sharper. You start muttering more in your sleep, your voice broken, your words fractured. Sometimes I hear my name tangled in the mess, or maybe it's not my name at all but the sound of someone else's ghost. Either way, you wake sweating, panting, your body a coil of need you can't shake. And when your eyes find me across the dying embers of the fire, there's no mask left, no stone, only hunger carved raw. One afternoon, as the heat swallows the sky, you finally speak. Your voice is rough, like gravel dragged across bone. You don't ask. You don't demand. You just say, I don't know how much longer I can hold it. And then you fall silent, like the words themselves cost you blood. I don't answer. What answer could I give? I let the silence sit between us, a wound neither of us dares to close. You don't repeat yourself, but I see it in your body, the shudder in your breath, the tremor in your hands. You're fraying, cowboy, thread by thread, and I wonder if you even know it. That night, you sit closer to me than you ever have before. Not touching, not speaking, just close enough that the heat of your body seeps into mine. The fire pops, the coyotes cry, and still you don't move. You're waiting for me to flinch, to lean away, to push you back. But I don't. I let you sit there, trembling with restraint, and I feel your breath catch with every inch you hold yourself from me. It's the cruelest mercy I can give, to let you drown in nearness without relief. The days blur, and I test you in new ways. I ride slower, letting you catch up. I let my hand brush yours when we pass the reins. I lean close to speak, though my words are nothing more than dust. Each time, you stiffen, torn between reaching and retreating. You want, but you fear what will happen if you take. You're a man split in two, half hunger, half guilt, and I can't tell which side will win. There's another storm, weeks later, fiercer than the first. Lightning rips the sky open, rain slashes the earth into rivers of mud. We scramble for shelter, and in the chaos, your hand finds my arm, dragging me beneath an overhang of rock. The storm rages around us, the sound of it deafening, and your body presses close, too close, the heat of you cutting through the cold rain. For a moment, I think you'll break. For a moment, I think the storm will swallow your restraint. Your eyes burn into mine, wide and wild, and your breath hits my skin like a brand. But you don't. You hold yourself back, trembling like a man chained to his own hunger. You lean close, so close I can feel the words you don't speak brushing my lips, and then you wrench yourself away, slamming your back against the stone, fists clenched, chest heaving. The storm roars on, but it's quieter than the silence between us. Afterward, when the rain clears and the desert breathes again, you can't meet my eyes. You ride ahead, your shoulders tight, your body trembling with the weight of what you didn't do. I let you go, because the desert don't need my help to break you. It'll finish the job on its own. And yet, despite it all, I feel the shift inside me too. The more I watch you unravel, the more I wonder what would happen if I let you have what you crave. Would you collapse into peace, or would you consume me until nothing remained but ash? I think about it more than I should, in the quiet hours when the stars press low, when the fire burns soft, when your breath trembles across the dark. One night, when the silence grows unbearable, I speak. Not to comfort, not to invite, but to cut. I say, "Cowboy, is your mind always between my legs? Is that why you look so lost out here?" The words land like a blade, sharp and merciless, and I see you flinch. You don't answer. You can't. Your eyes burn, your mouth opens and closes, and for the first time, I see the truth without disguise. You're not lost. You're drowning. And maybe, just maybe, so am I. Cowboy, the days roll over us like waves of heat, and every mile feels heavier than the last. The desert don't change, not really, but it changes you. I can see it now, your face carved deeper by the sun, your eyes sharper, hungrier, more desperate. You think you've been holding yourself steady, but I know the truth. You're unraveling, thread by thread, the land stripping you bare. There was a time when you believed silence was strength. You carried it like a weapon, sharp and clean. But silence has turned against you. It gnaws at your bones, rattles your chest, makes every breath sound like a confession. You don't speak because you fear the words, but the words are there, crowding behind your teeth, begging to be set loose. I see it most at night. The fire crackles low, coyotes cry in the distance, and you sit there across from me, eyes burning holes through the dark. You pretend to sharpen your knife, to tend to the saddle, but your hands betray you. They shake, ever so slight, the way a man's hands do when he's carrying something too heavy to hold. And still, your gaze drifts, always back to me, to the place you think your salvation hides. Between my legs, in the curve of my hips, in the heat of my skin. You think if you could bury yourself there, the ghosts would leave, the silence would ease, the desert would forgive. But you're wrong. Flesh don't save men. Flesh consumes them. You've tested me, though you don't know it. Every time your hand lingers, every time your breath catches, every time your eyes burn too long. And I've tested you in return. I've watched you wrestle with your hunger, with your restraint, with the pieces of yourself you can't control. And I know now what kind of man you are. You're not stone, not steel, not the myth you pretend to be, not the myth you pretend to be. You're fire, untamed and starving, and fire always burns until there's nothing left. One night, under a sky thick with stars, the air feels too tight to breathe. You sit closer than ever before, so close our shadows merge in the firelight. Your jaw clenches, your hands fist and unfist, and I know the moment has come. You can't hold it anymore. Your body trembles with it, every muscle pulled taut as a bowstring. And then you break. Your hand reaches, rough and shaking, catching my wrist before I can move. Your eyes lock on mine, wide and raw, and your voice cracks as you whisper, "I can't carry it anymore." It's not a demand, not a threat, but a plea. A man stripped down to nothing but truth. I should have pulled away. I should have let you drown in the silence you made for yourself. But I didn't, because in that moment, I saw more than hunger in you. I saw the boy you once were, barefoot in the dust, chasing a horizon he never caught. I saw the man you've been, carrying ghosts no one else would bear. And I saw the end of you, if I didn't answer. So I leaned in, not to save you, not to forgive you, but to meet you where you'd already fallen. Your mouth crashed against mine, rough, desperate, tasting of whiskey and regret. Your hands gripped me like I was the only rope keeping you from sinking. And for a moment, just a moment, I let you believe it was enough. The desert watched. It always does. The fire spat, the coyotes hushed, the stars pressed lower, and for that moment, we were the only two souls left alive. You kissed me like a man trying to erase himself, like every ghost inside you could be buried in my skin. You wanted release. You wanted silence. You wanted to forget. But when it ended, when the hunger dulled and the fire burned low, you looked at me and realized the truth. You were still you. The ghosts were still there. The desert was still waiting. You pulled back, your chest heaving, your eyes wild. It didn't work, you whispered, though you didn't need to. I saw it in your face. The ache was still there, heavier than before, because now you knew desire wouldn't save you. It never could. You staggered from the fire, fists clenched, cursing into the dark. You punched the air, the earth, the silence itself, but nothing answered. I watched, silent, because this was the end of your test. You'd reached the place no man wants to go, the place where hunger meets truth. And truth, Cowboy, is merciless. For days after, you barely spoke. You rode hard, pushed your horse until its flanks foamed, as though speed itself might drag you past what you'd done. But the desert don't let go. Every mile was heavier, every silence sharper, every glance more dangerous. And then, one evening, when the sun bled into the sand and turned the sky the color of wounds, you stopped. You dismounted, dropped to your knees in the dust, and finally, you wept. Not soft, not quiet, but raw, guttural, the kind of sound that shakes the air itself. You wept for the ghosts, for the hunger, for the man you thought you were and the boy you lost long ago. You wept until your body shook, until the ground beneath you was wet with your tears, until the desert itself seemed to hold the sound in its endless silence. I didn't touch you. I didn't speak. I let you fall apart, because men like you can't be saved by hands or words. You can only be saved by breaking. And in that moment, you broke. When the weeping stopped, you lifted your face to the sky, dust clinging to your skin, eyes red but clearer than I'd ever seen. And you laughed, not out of joy, not out of madness, but out of something deeper, the knowledge that you'd finally been stripped of everything but truth. You looked at me then, and for the first time, your gaze wasn't on my body. It wasn't on the place you thought salvation lived. It was on me, all of me, and in that gaze, I saw a man no longer lost. Thank you, you whispered, though I'd given you nothing but silence and tests. But maybe that's all you ever needed. Not to be filled, not to be saved, but to be seen. We rode on after that, but something had shifted. The hunger was still there, always there, but it no longer ruled you. You carried it like a scar, not a wound. You still looked at me, still lingered, still ached, but your eyes no longer begged. They accepted, and that was enough. The desert didn't change. The sun still burned, the nights still bit, the coyotes still howled. But you had changed. You weren't lost anymore. You weren't searching for salvation between my legs or in the silence of my body. You were riding with yourself, for the first time in your life, and you weren't afraid of what you saw. Cowboy, your mind had always been between my legs, but it was never about flesh. It was about escape, about the hunger you thought could be silenced. Now you know better. Now you know desire don't save men. Truth does. And the truth is, you were never lost. You just didn't want to be found. And in that final knowing, the desert, for the first time, forgave you. Thank you so much for watching this story till the very end. Your support means more than words can ever say. If you felt the depth of this journey, don't forget to give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll keep bringing powerful stories to life, and your presence here makes all the difference.